I'm just going to talk through some of the key investment trends I'm seeing in Southeast Asia. I run the capital markets research for Southeast Asia in JLL. So the first thing is, obviously, when we look at Southeast Asia, there's some investor interest, but a lot of people talk about the lack of scale, how the market's really fragmented. But when you look at it, because of the very, very high growth rates we're seeing, I do believe that Southeast Asia will punch above its own weight as time goes by. So this is something that PwC did, and they talk about the top 20 economies in 2050. And by 2050, if we're still around, we've got China number 1, India number 2, US number 3, and then Southeast Asia and Europe will be similar in size in terms of the size of the economies. And interestingly, Vietnam, Philippines, and Indonesia will all be in the top 20. So if you stick with it, actually, the scale will arrive on its own. And of course, the growth is coming from the very strong demographics, which we all know about. So median age of 30, 40% of the people between 15 and 39, and the higher growth countries are Philippines, Vietnam, and Indonesia, all growing about 5 to 7%. And just these 3 countries alone, they make up 60% of Southeast Asia's economy. Very strong growth. And I think one of the biggest trends we're seeing in the last year or two is that Southeast Asia is winning manufacturers away from China. And if you can look at this global CEO survey that's done by Deloitte, they believe that over the next 5 years, competitiveness of countries like China, South Korea, and Taiwan are going to decrease. And manufacturers will find that India, Malaysia, Thailand, and Vietnam are going to grow in competitiveness. They're going to win more manufacturers into their countries. So the top growth are actually going to be in India and Vietnam. I think a lot of it is due to China when it's growing, improving in its innovation and technology. The costs are also going up. So when you look at wages of manufacturing staff in China, they've probably doubled over the last 5 years. And now when you compare the wages between China and, say, Vietnam or Indonesia, Vietnam and Indonesia is about a quarter or a third of hiring the same factory worker in China. And on top of that, construction costs in China has also gone up 25%. So this is one reason why manufacturers are moving away from China into Southeast Asia. Another reason is also because they are going towards the customers. So if you look at some of the longer term studies, say by Brookings Institute, they talk about how the middle income population in Southeast Asia will grow, say, 9% a year, contributing to personal consumption growth of 6 to 7%. So these manufacturers are moving their operations to serve customers in Southeast Asia. And it does help that a lot of the countries in the region, they have minimum local content rules. So if you want to sell a smartphone in Indonesia, for example, 30%, minimum 30% of the smartphone components have to be already made in Indonesia. And so they have other minimum local content rules on clothing and apparel. So that's forcing quite a lot of manufacturers to actually base their operations in the places where their consumers are located. And I think the thing is, as infrastructure is getting built out, as we're getting better road and rail connection, maybe finally the region will be like one zone, like what the AEC intended, the way Europe is connected. And so basing your factory somewhere in Vietnam or Thailand or Malaysia allows you to serve the entire region when it's well connected as one. So we believe that one of the best things an investor can do in the next 5 years is to come into Southeast Asia and build some industrial facility or logistics facility. So we've done some research and notes on this. You can check it out on our website. It shows you where the yield on cost will be if you were to invest in a manufacturing facility in Vietnam, Indonesia, or Philippines, and Malaysia. Those are the top markets. Our top two picks are actually for Vietnam and Indonesia. For Vietnam, it really stands out because of the quality of the education levels and the still very affordable wage costs, and the relatively more stable political climate compared to the rest of Southeast Asia. And Indonesia is because manufacturing has sort of slowed over the last decade and it's sort of turning around, and we do expect that manufacturing growth will accelerate towards 6 to 7% from the 5% we see today. And I think if you hold your industrial land for long enough, we've seen in other more mature markets that as the economy sort of advances into more manufacturing and services, your industrial land will become more scarce, and therefore we'll see some land appreciation. So we've seen some land appreciation of 60 to 80% in the last 6-7 years in the outskirts of Bangkok, Manila, and KL. So we do see that you will get appreciation as time goes by, even as you get a reasonable yield out of industrial development. So talking about consumers in Southeast Asia, what gets me really excited is the fact that we have more Facebook subscribers in Southeast Asia than any other continent in the world. Well, partly it's because there's no Facebook in China, but people in the Philippines, in Thailand, in Vietnam, and Indonesia, they're big on Facebook. A lot of the young people, they haven't owned a computer, but they're already using their mobile phones to access social media. They're using it to shop. So if you look at the percentage of people who are online and how many of them are shopping through their mobile phones, the rates you're seeing in Southeast Asia are no lower than what you see in the mature markets like the UK and the US. So that's feeding into consumption because a lot of the young people, they go on Instagram, they see their friends wearing something from Zara and they want it too. And a lot of these people are not really living in cities. They could be living near some agriculture in the smaller second, third, fourth tier cities in Indonesia or Vietnam. And you'll find that it's very surprising that people outside of cities, a bigger proportion of them are using their mobile phones to buy something compared to people who are in the cities. And there's a strong preference for these people to do cash on delivery rather than using a credit card, because they don't have credit cards. And because they are at work or they don't really like home delivery, they would rather pick up whatever they've clicked. So it's a lot of click and collect. So I do see this opportunity for more developers to go into second, third, and fourth tier cities to build small community malls to serve these consumption needs. Because people want to go to a place where they can eat and meet and shop a little bit, and you will be serving all the population that's outside cities who are dying to spend some money. I have to click twice every time, I don't know why. So when we look at the need for community malls, we see the strongest needs coming from Indonesia, Vietnam, and Philippines. These are where the population growths are, and these are where we will get several clusters of population in third tier, fourth cities. Within cities, we do think that there's an excessive amount of retail already in places like Singapore and KL, but outside of Singapore and KL, in-city retail, there's still room for growth based on the amount of space we have per capita. So just a little update on what happened in the second quarter. We got retail rents growing faster in Jakarta and Manila and Bangkok as well. The rents are still growing. We're still seeing declines in Singapore and KL. A little bit too much supply and a slowdown in consumption. And I think that trend is expected to continue for a little bit longer. And for Singapore and KL, we think rents will only recover in 2018. The next thing is probably, oops, now it's moving too fast. Okay, so we've got residential. So I think what stands out for me is that there's still an undersupply of residential apartments for the whole of Southeast Asia, just like Stephen talked about, 8.5 million population in Ho Chi Minh City and not enough apartments. So when we look at the apartment stock per 1,000, so in Ho Chi Minh City it's still very low, and if everything in the pipeline is built, it's still very low. compared to what stock we're seeing in KL, Bangkok, and Manila in terms of modern apartments. So there is still a lot of scope for developers to do JVs with locals and build more of these residential that we badly need. And we showed this last year, apartments in most of the Southeast Asian cities are still very affordable, equivalent to 5 to 7 years of income for the median household to buy a house. And as you can see for Ho Chi Minh City, it's about 4.1 years for the top quintile household with a monthly income of about $1,500 US to buy an apartment in the affordable segment. And if you look historically, because prices have fallen and incomes have risen, it's come from 7 years of income to buy a house in 2010 to now about 4 years. Probably the best time to buy was 2014. I don't know whether you bought, but that would have been a good time. Yeah, so I feel that, even though prices have risen 14% last year, there's still a lot of scope for growth in this city compared to the rest of Southeast Asia cities where prices have been appreciating over the last 5 years. Ho Chi Minh City has gone the other way. So we are probably in the second, third year of recovery and probably a few more years to go. And if you look at the wage increases of 5 to 10% a year, I do still think that prices could rise maybe 10% a year for the next 3 years. So first half, we've got apartments going up 5%, villas going up 15%, so year on year it's about 10% in the first half, and probably we'll see the trend continuing for the rest of the year. Another market that I do like is also Bangkok. We're seeing strong sales, so the pre-sale rate is 75%, which is an all-time high. Developers are selling more units and they're getting a strong demand, and a lot of the foreign investors are going into Bangkok to partner with local developers to build more apartments because there's a good amount of demand. And lastly, on the very, very cyclical office market, I do note that Southeast Asia is growing faster than any other region in terms of office take-up. So if you look at office absorption before the global financial crisis and after, we find that demand for office space has halved in developed markets like the US and Europe, and in Asia Pacific, take-up for office space on a yearly basis is 25% lower. Yet in Southeast Asia, we are seeing a stronger take-up rate, so acceleration of office demand growing instead of 4% a year is now 5% a year after the global financial crisis. Now this is because as technology gets even better, you get a little bit more outsourcing, you get to be able to remove some of the lower end operations and you bring them to Southeast Asia to cheaper locations, and that's fueling a lot of the office take-up in places like Manila and even in Jakarta. So I think for Vietnam, the problem is there is no stock, but if there was stock available, I think the demand will be quite strong because of this overall trend of people wanting to move operations into Southeast Asia and also Southeast Asia's own growth. So this just shows you some of the online freelancing that's happening. So in terms of freelance, we have strong numbers of freelancers in Philippines and Indonesia, almost close enough to what you get in India. Another growth trend we see is in co-working. So as companies become more fluid and they change and pivot their way through, we find that they find sort of traditional real estate leases a little bit too rigid for their use. They're not sure they want a 3-year lease because they're not sure whether they'll be this size and this shape in 3 years' time. So co-working is one of the ways they sort of adapt to their needs. So we do see that co-working, which is less than 1% of occupied stock today, could probably grow to 10 to 15% of occupied stock in 2030. And if you can see in the more developed markets like Europe, you're already seeing co-working being a big part of occupied office space. So we do think it's a real trend that it will grow here. In terms of the markets that we like, we do like places where is at a cyclical trough because office is a cyclical sector. So for example, Singapore where rents are falling slower, and also Bangkok where rents are rising for the first time after sort of being flat for about 2 years. And Manila trends are always going up, so Manila rents continue to grow. I don't know whether Donald Trump will derail all the BPO growth, but so far so good. We haven't seen any impact in Manila. The worst market is probably Jakarta, where there's a lot of supply, and there will be more supply next year and more supply in the year after. So there's a lot of supply to work through in Jakarta. One thing that was a surprise in Singapore is that Grade A rents rose in the second quarter for the first time in 8 quarters. So you can see on the chart that Singapore rents have been going down for about 2 years now, and we're seeing the first quarterly increase in rents. And I think that's a good time to get yourself set in Singapore, buy an office sector, buy an office building, and benefit from the rental growth over the next 3 years. I think the recovery in Jakarta will be taking some time, so maybe 2020. This is probably one of my last slides, so it just shows you where the yield spreads for office over the bond yields. So the interesting thing is that yield spreads have been compressing, simply because people have allocated more of their capital to real estate because of the low cost of funding. And we can see it across the globe and in Southeast Asia. But in Bangkok, actually the decrease in rates haven't been matched by cap rate compression, so we are seeing a nicer yield spread in Bangkok. And one of the best things about Bangkok is that more property funds are converting to REITs this year. So the biggest property fund, which is some retail REIT by Central Patana, they are converting to a REIT this year. And when they do convert to a REIT, the advantage is that they can take on more leverage. So they can finally have some gearing, they can use the cash to buy more assets, and so maybe we'll see some cap rate compression for office assets in Bangkok. And I think that's it. So key takeaways is that in Southeast Asia, there's a lot of growth, and there's not enough stock. So a lot of investors come to me and go like, I want to buy something in Jakarta, or I want to buy something in Ho Chi Minh. I'm like, no, stop, build it. They're like, no, you build it. I'm like, no, you build it. So if we don't build it, it's not going to be there for people to buy. So we just need to get through this period. So instead of coming and looking for stock to buy, I encourage investors to build something. Build some residential, build some industrial. That would definitely help feed the consumption that's happening here. And domestic consumption is a big theme. We need more community malls all across Southeast Asia. And we need more industrial logistics in Indonesia and Vietnam. And for housing markets, Ho Chi Minh City looks really good compared to the rest of the sectors across the region, and also Bangkok. So that's it. I don't do this alone. We have 37 researchers all around the region. So if you need any data, any paper, just call me and I will put you in touch with the right person. And I'm very grateful that we have such a nice team with us.